I remember the very first coaching client that I took on. I was about 3 years into my investing journey. I started in the year 2000. I was 20 years old. At 2003, around there, I took on my first coaching client. And I say client, it was free. It was my buddy. It was a friend. And I was hanging out with my friends. They all got jobs at this point. I had no job. I was just kind of, seemed like I was floating through life, but I always had money and I was able to go golfing and be able to do everything. And they're like, one day my buddy Matt, I've known him since I was 14 or 15 in high school. He said, "What are you doing? Are you selling drugs? How are you not working?" And we're all busting our butts. I'm like, "You know this, I told you. I have income properties. I own income properties, and that's what I do." First I say I'm in real estate. People are like, "Oh, you're a realtor." I'm like, "No, I don't make money for other people. I make money for me. I'm an investor." And he says, "What are income properties?" And now I'm like, I started explaining to him, it's simple. Here's what I do. First, I figure out how I'm going to fund properties. All right, I got 5 funding building blocks, and I just go through my checklist and I see which of the building blocks I'm going to use. And then how to find properties, and then how to buy them, how to add value, and then eventually I get paid. And so he thought about it for a minute. He said, "Can you show me how to do that?" And I said, "Yes, absolutely, I can show you." And there's something about once you're like successful and you've cracked the code on something, you're really excited to show other people. I think there's 2 people in this world. Some people are like, I don't want to show anybody because I don't want everyone to know it. But I was the kind of person that like, yes, please, finally somebody's interested in doing this. And so I walked Matt through my entire process. I said, "We're starting tomorrow. Let's make it happen tomorrow. We're going to start with funding." That's our very first step of our roadmap, is we're going to look at the 5 funding building blocks. And we went through the checklist and the exercise with them. And within a day, we had that identified. I said, "Okay, now that we have your budget, essentially how much you can spend on a property and where the money's coming from, now let's go find properties." So we had the budget, and he used my checklist, and we gave that to the realtor, that's called the delegation method. There's 3 properties. You can be the magnet, the seeker, or the delegate. You'll learn all this. And this was in our programming too. I gave him the delegation method. He gave it to the realtor. All right, we had all these properties to look at. We narrowed it down to 3. Then we moved to the 3rd stage, buy. How do we buy and transact? So how do we structure the offer? How do we put the conditions in? And I just gave him all of the things to put in. It's just plug and play. And he made the offer and bought one of the properties. Now what do I do? And that's probably what everyone here would be thinking is, okay, what do I do now? I said, perfect, we're gonna add value. So we went in the renovation checklist. I said, get the caulking gun, get the paintbrush. We are going to fix this place up. So we went, it took about 2 weeks. I like to do more of the aesthetic jobs as opposed to rip down walls and foundations, although there's a place for that too. A couple weeks, we increased the value. He's, all right, now what do I do? And I'm like, this is the best part, stage 5. It's called getting paid. This is where we actually get paid. And this is an important lesson for everyone. It's like, you gotta do the work before you get paid. Too many people want to get paid and then do the work or get paid halfway through. We did all that work and we got paid. How did we get paid? Number 1, I showed him how to rent the property. We just followed the rental checklist. We put the ads out. We followed the script. We qualified tenants and we got them right into the lease. Number 1, got paid first and last month's rent within a few days. Second thing we did is I showed him how to go and refinance the property, what we call flip to yourself. Because Matt asked me, and you guys might be asking this, okay, I added all this value. I did the renovation. It's worth more money. I'm going to go sell it. Let's sell it and make the 20 grand or 30 grand or whatever it is. I said, no, don't sell it. What do you mean don't sell it? I said, look, you sell it, you're going to have to pay tax on all that gains. You're going to have transaction fees, realtor, lawyer, etc. At the end of the day, you're going to be left with $5,000, which is more than you had three months ago, by the way. That's still a huge win. But I think we can do better, Matt. Let's get first and last month's rent, which was about $1,500 a month or $3,000. And now let's refinance it so you don't pay any tax. We're going to get it appraised at the higher value, and we're going to take the rest of that money out, and you're going to end up with 30 or 40,000 or 20, whatever the number is 20 years ago. You're going to end up with a lot more than you would if you were to flip it to yourself. So he followed that process, he got paid, and then what do you think he said at the end of that? What's the next steps after you go through that process? Throw it in the chat. What do you guys think that Matt asked me or Matt did after that? I want to see if you guys can think, what would you do after that? So this is good practice. I'm getting you warmed up on the chat and the videos here. I'll just put it in the chat if you think what he said was, let's do it again. That's where I want you guys to be. After these 3 days, I want you to see that vision where you can have a plan, you can have a lifestyle where you go through the 5-part roadmap, you follow the process, you get paid, and then your biggest worry is like, let's do it again, and let's do it again, and let's do it again.